There's a level of discipline that makes sleeping in physically impossible, and today you'll discover why samurai warriors woke up before dawn every single day for 400 years, and how you can use their exact method to eliminate the snooze button from your life forever. Have you ever met someone who never sleeps late, who wakes up at the same time every morning without an alarm, who seems to have an internal clock that's completely unbreakable? While you're hitting snooze 5 times and dragging yourself out of bed feeling guilty and behind, they're already awake, energized, and 2 hours into their day. And you know what people say about them. They must be morning people. They were born that way. Probably go to bed at 8 in the evening like a child. But what if I told you that in feudal Japan, samurai warriors developed a system so powerful that sleeping late became a biological impossibility? They called it Asa-Geiko, the morning practice, and it had nothing to do with willpower or discipline. It was about rewiring your brain's relationship with dawn. Once you understand how it works, you'll never struggle with your alarm clock again. But there's a catch. This system requires you to do something for 30 days that will feel like torture at first. Something that goes against every modern comfort you've built your life around. Before I show you exactly how this works, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment on what time you actually wake up versus what time you wish you woke up. This helps me create better content for you and helps the channel grow. Thank you so much for your attention. Now, back to the video. The story I'm about to tell you is about a guy named Marcus. Marcus was 28 years old, worked as a graphic designer, freelanced from home. He had complete control over his schedule, which sounds like a dream until you realize it was destroying him. Marcus would set his alarm for 6 every morning with the best intentions. He'd go to bed thinking, tomorrow I'm waking up early, getting ahead, finally being productive. The alarm would ring, he'd turn it off and think, just 10 more minutes. 2 hours later, he'd wake up at 8, sometimes 8:30, feeling like garbage. Guilty, behind, frustrated with himself. His whole morning was ruined before it even started. By the time he actually got to work, it was 10 or 10:30, and he'd already wasted half the day. This pattern had been going on for 3 years. 3 years of promising himself he'd wake up early, 3 years of failing, 3 years of feeling weak and undisciplined. He tried everything. Multiple alarms across the room, apps that make you solve math problems, putting his phone in a different room, going to bed earlier, drinking less coffee, drinking more water. Nothing worked. The problem wasn't his alarm. The problem wasn't even his sleep. The problem was that he had no reason to wake up that was stronger than his desire to stay in bed. His bed was comfortable, his room was dark, there was no immediate consequence for sleeping in, so his brain chose comfort every single time. Everything changed when Marcus read a book about samurai training methods. He came across a chapter about Asa-Geiko, the dawn practice. The author explained that samurai didn't wake up early because they were disciplined. They woke up early because they built a system that made sleeping late more painful than waking up. The system had 3 core principles, and all 3 had to work together. The first principle was called yakusoku, the public promise. Samurai would make a declaration in front of their entire dojo the night before. I will be at the training grounds at dawn, not, I'll try to be there, not, I hope to be there. A statement of fact, I will be there. If they didn't show up, everyone would know. The shame wasn't private, it was public. The second principle was Renshusaki, the training location. Samurai didn't train at home where it was comfortable and private. They trained in a specific place where others were watching. The training ground was cold, uncomfortable, and far enough from their sleeping quarters that once they got there, turning back felt stupid. The third principle was Shudan, the group. No samurai trained alone at dawn. They trained with others who had made the same promise. If you didn't show up, you weren't just letting yourself down. You were letting down everyone who was there waiting for you. Marcus read this and realized he had none of these 3 things. His promise to wake up early was private. Nobody knew about it except him. His training location was his home office, 30 feet from his bed. There was no physical separation, no commitment to getting somewhere. His group was nobody. He was trying to do this alone, which meant there was 0 external accountability. So Marcus decided to build all 3 principles into his life. First, yakusoku. He sent a message to 5 friends. Starting Monday, I'm waking up at 5:30 every morning for 30 days. I'll text the group the moment I'm awake. If I don't text by 5:45, I owe everyone $20. 4 of them replied saying he was crazy. 1 replied saying, I'll do it with you. That was enough. Second, Ren Shusaki. Marcus found a 24-hour gym 15 minutes from his apartment. He committed to being there by 6 every morning. Not working out at home, not doing something in his living room. At the gym, the act of getting dressed, leaving his apartment and driving there created separation between sleep and waking. Once he was in the car, turning around and going back to bed felt pathetic. Third, Shudan. His friend who agreed to join him became his friend. They didn't work out together, but they checked in. They texted when they arrived. They knew the other person was counting on them. That made all the difference. Day 1, Monday morning. Marcus's alarm went off at 5:30. His body screamed at him to go back to sleep. But then he thought about the text message he had to send. He thought about owing everyone $20 if he didn't. He thought about his friend who was probably already awake, waiting to see if Marcus would show up. He forced himself out of bed, put on gym clothes and texted the group. Awake, heading to the gym. He drove to the gym in the dark, feeling half asleep. But the moment he walked through the gym doors, something shifted. The lights were bright. Other people were there working out. His body recognized that it was time to be awake. He did 30 minutes of light exercise, nothing intense, just movement. By the time he left the gym at 6:45, he felt completely awake. He went home, made breakfast, and started working at 7:30. For the first time in 3 years, he'd started his day ahead of schedule instead of behind. His friend texted him, "That sucked, but I did it." Marcus replied, "Same. See you tomorrow." Day 2 was slightly easier. Day 3, his body started waking up a few minutes before the alarm. Day 5, he realized he wasn't tired during the day anymore. Day 7, he completed the first week. He posted in the group chat, "1 week down. This is working." By week 2, something unexpected happened. Marcus started looking forward to waking up, not because the alarm was pleasant, but because the feeling of winning the morning became addictive. Every day he woke up on time was proof that he wasn't weak, that he could keep a promise to himself. That feeling was worth more than extra sleep. By week 3, his circadian rhythm had completely shifted. He started getting tired earlier at night naturally. His body knew that 5:30 was wake-up time, so it started preparing for sleep earlier. He wasn't forcing anything anymore. His biology had adjusted. By day 30, Marcus had not missed a single morning. 30 days in a row. His friend had missed 2 days and paid the group $40, but even he had done 28 out of 30, which was more than he'd ever done before. But the real transformation wasn't just that Marcus was waking up early, it was what waking up early did to the rest of his life. Because he was waking up at 5:30, he had 2 hours of focused work done by 8. His most creative, energized hours were happening before most people even woke up. His income increased by 30% in 2 months because he was getting more done. His fitness improved because going to the gym was now automatic. His confidence skyrocketed because he'd proven to himself that he could do something difficult consistently. His relationship with his girlfriend improved because he wasn't stressed and behind all the time. He was calm, ahead, in control. She asked him, "What happened to you? You're like a different person." He said, "I just started waking up early." But it wasn't just waking up early. It was the Asa-Geiko system, the public promise, the training location, the group. Those 3 elements turned an impossible habit into an automatic routine. Marcus wanted to understand why this system worked so well when everything else had failed. He found research from a behavioral psychologist at Kyoto University who had studied habit formation in traditional Japanese disciplines. The researcher explained that most people fail to wake up early because they're relying on internal motivation, which is the weakest form of behavior change. Internal motivation says, "I want to wake up early because it's good for me." That works for about 3 days. Then your brain realizes that sleeping in is also good for you in a different way, and the internal conflict creates decision fatigue. You start negotiating with yourself every morning. External accountability eliminates the negotiation. When you've made a public promise, your brain isn't weighing comfort versus discipline anymore. It's weighing comfort versus social shame. And humans are wired to avoid social shame more than they're wired to avoid physical discomfort. The training location principle works because of environmental design. Your bedroom is designed for sleep. Everything about it, the bed, the darkness, the warmth, is optimized for rest. Trying to wake up and immediately be productive in that environment is fighting your biology. By committing to go somewhere else, you create a forcing function. You can't complete your morning routine without leaving your sleep environment, and once you've left, you've already won. The group principle works because of something called social facilitation. Research from Stanford shows that people perform better and stay more consistent when they know others are doing the same thing. It's not about competition, it's about shared commitment. When you know someone else is waking up at the same time, you feel less alone in the discomfort, and that makes it bearable. Marcus had now been doing Asa-Geiko for 3 months. He was waking up at 5:30 without an alarm. His body just knew. People at coffee shops would see him working at 7 in the morning and ask, "How are you already this productive?" He'd explain the system. Most people didn't want to do it because it required public commitment and actually leaving the house. But the few who tried it all reported the same thing. Within 2 weeks, waking up early stopped being hard. It just became what they did. One day, Marcus's girlfriend asked if she could join the group. She'd been watching his transformation and wanted the same thing. She started waking up at 5:30, going to a yoga studio near her apartment, and texting the group when she arrived. Within a month, she'd lost weight, felt more energized, and finally finished a creative project she'd been putting off for 2 years. She told Marcus, "I didn't realize how much of my day I was wasting by starting late." The group grew. By month 6, there were 12 people in the accountability text chain. Not everyone did it perfectly, but everyone was doing it more consistently than they ever had before. Some people went to the gym, some went to coffee shops to write, some went for runs. The specific activity didn't matter. What mattered was leaving their sleep environment and checking in publicly. Marcus found writings from an 18th century samurai named Daidoji Yuzan, who wrote about the philosophy behind Asa-Geiko. Yuzan explained that waking up at dawn wasn't about being productive, it was about mastering yourself. He wrote, "A man who cannot control when he wakes is a man who cannot control his life. Sleep is the first battlefield. If you lose there, you've already lost the day. It's about winning the smallest battle every single morning. If you can win that battle, everything else becomes easier." Yuzan also wrote that sleeping late was considered a form of self-disrespect. Not because rest is bad, but because choosing comfort over commitment is a betrayal of your own word. If you say you'll wake up at a certain time and then you don't, you're teaching yourself that your word means nothing. Do that enough times and you stop trusting yourself entirely. The Asa-Geiko system prevents this by making your word public and making your action physical. You can't lie to yourself when 5 other people are waiting for your check-in text. By month 9, Marcus had completely transformed. He'd woken up at 5:30 for 270 consecutive days. It wasn't hard anymore. It was just who he was. He wasn't someone trying to wake up early. He was someone who woke up early. The identity shift was complete. His business had grown, his health was better, his relationships were stronger, and all of it traced back to one thing. He'd stopped losing the first battle of the day. People would ask him, "Don't you ever want to sleep in?" He'd say, "Not really. Waking up early is when I feel most like myself." That's the final stage of Asa-Geiko, when waking up early stops being something you forced yourself to do and becomes something you'd feel wrong not doing. When your body expects it, your mind enjoys it, and your life is built around it. A researcher at Harvard who studies circadian rhythms explains that the human body is incredibly adaptable. Most people think they're night owls or morning people based on genetics, but research shows that's mostly environmental conditioning. If you consistently wake up at the same time for 30 days, expose yourself to light immediately, and move your body, your circadian rhythm will shift. You'll start getting tired earlier and waking up naturally earlier. The body follows patterns. If you give it a consistent pattern, it will adapt. The problem is most people never stay consistent long enough to let the adaptation happen. They try for a few days, fail, give up, and conclude that they're just not morning people. The Asa-Geiko system forces consistency through accountability, location commitment, and social support. It removes the ability to quit quietly. 1 year after starting, Marcus was unrecognizable. He'd built a successful business, gotten in the best shape of his life, and developed a reputation among his friends as the guy who had his life together. People would ask him for advice, and he'd always say the same thing: fix your mornings first, everything else will follow. He'd explain the 3 principles: public promise, training location, group accountability. Some people would implement it immediately, others would nod and never do it because it required discomfort and commitment. But the ones who did it, the ones who actually built the system, they all reported the same transformation. Within a month, waking up early stopped being a struggle. Within 3 months, it became automatic. Within 6 months, it changed their entire life. The samurai never slept late because they understood something modern society has forgotten. Your morning is the foundation of your entire day. If you lose your morning, you lose your day. If you lose your day repeatedly, you lose your life. Waking up early isn't about productivity. It's about self-respect. It's about keeping the promise you made to yourself. It's about proving that you're in control of your own life. The Asa-Geiko method works because it takes that abstract concept and makes it concrete. You make a public promise. You commit to a physical location. You join a group. You remove the ability to negotiate with yourself. You remove the ability to fail privately. You create a system where waking up is easier than not waking up. The question now is, are you ready to try this? Are you ready to make a public commitment, pick a location, and find at least one other person to do this with you? Because here's the truth. You already know that sleeping in isn't serving you. You already know that starting your day behind schedule creates stress and guilt that follows you all day. You already know that you'd feel better, accomplish more, and respect yourself more if you woke up early consistently. You've known this for years. The only question is whether you're willing to build the system that makes it happen. The Asa-Geiko method doesn't require money, doesn't require special equipment, and doesn't require you to be a naturally disciplined person. It just requires you to implement 3 principles. Make a public promise to people who will hold you accountable. Commit to being at a specific location at a specific time. Do it with at least one other person so you're not alone. If you do these 3 things for 30 days, your entire relationship with mornings will change. You won't be someone who tries to wake up early. That identity shift is permanent. Once you've proven to yourself that you can do it for 30 days, you'll know you can do it forever. If you're going to try the Asa-Geiko method, I want you to comment below with the time you're committing to wake up and the location you're committing to go to. That's your public promise right here. That's you making it real. And in 30 days, come back to this comment and tell everyone whether you did it. Hold yourself accountable publicly. That's how the samurai did it, and that's how you'll do it too. Subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and get ready to never sleep late again. Remember, discipline isn't about willpower. It's about building a system that makes the right choice automatic. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for your attention. See you in the next video.